Yo, what's up nerds? Just a note before this video starts, I haven't seen every film in 2022. Here in New Zealand we don't get a lot of releases till later in the year, probably next year. Now I don't think this list is very controversial. There's a couple in here which people might go, huh? But I think the rest is kind of pretty alright, you know, everyone would probably agree with a lot of these. So before we get into the 10, here are some honourable mentions that aren't 11 or 12 or 13, but I thought they were quite good. They surprised me how much I enjoyed them. First is Ambulance by Michael Bay. It's an absolute banger and should be the new golden standard for action movies. Another one is After Yang, a beautiful film that has an amazing performance by Colin Farrell. This was number one for me for quite a lot of the year, but then when award season films started coming out, it dropped down. Then third is Hustle with Adam Sandler. That was amazing. Between this and Uncut Gems, I'm just gonna watch everything the Sandman puts out now.
我想告诉你，如果有来生，我还是会选择和你一起报税，开心一点。
Alright, so getting into it, number 10, we have Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's probably lower than most people, but this film is really something special. You know, I don't think I'm in the same camp as a lot of people calling it the greatest film of the 21st century, but I really enjoyed it. It was really good. The performances by Michelle Yeoh and Kei-Hu Kwan are what drew me into the film, and there's just two masterful performances. And I'll also add that the editing is a large part of what carried this movie for me. The editing is fantastic, and it deserves that Oscar win in my opinion. I'm glad to see smaller films like this as well doing so well at the box office and getting a lot of award recognition. I hope that the performance of this film encourages studios to take more risks, because in no reality should this film have been as good as it was.
Yeah, they're laughing.
These guys aren't laughing.
Where?
In the country square.
What does it matter what they're doing in other cars?
I want to know how scared I should be.
For number 9, I have White Noise by Noah Baumbach. It's a pretty overlooked film, I think, but it hasn't had its Netflix release. It's just been having a limited release internationally, so hopefully when it reaches Netflix it finds its audience. But White Noise is one of Adam Driver's greatest performances ever, and I understand people's complaints about the pacing of this film, but honestly the frantic and chaotic nature of this film is why I loved it so much. It felt like nearly every minute you were watching a new movie, and the credit scene is amazing. New Body Rumba might be my favourite song from any film this year. It'd be between that and Hold My Hand from Top Gun. I've had New Body Rumba on repeat since I've watched the film. It's one of those rare films as well where the child actors weren't getting on my nerve the whole time, so I highly recommend White Noise.
You have a job now, or?
We're not allowed to talk about jobs at the bat mitzvah party.
So you either don't have a job or you have a bad job.
I have a bad job. Yeah.
For number 8, we have Cha Cha Real Smooth. It's a feel-good movie that is being severely underlooked by nearly everyone. Cooper Raiff is one of my favourite up-and-coming directors between this and Shithouse. I think it's hard to argue otherwise that he's not a fantastic director. I think this film might hit harder for me than a lot of other people, especially because I'm nearing the age that this film's main character is based on. You know, I'm just getting out of university, trying to find my place in the world like Andrew. I don't think I'll become a party starter, but it's something that's relatable for a lot of young people. How much I love this film has me excited for his next film, The Trashes, which is going to star David Harbour and Cooper Hoffman, which is very exciting.
Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done to you. And if I've said something to you, maybe I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it, but I don't think I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it. But if I did, then tell me what it was, and I'll say sorry for that too, Colin.
Number 7, I have The Banshees of Inisherin. This is one of my more recent watches. I watched it about a week ago, so it's fresh in my mind. I wasn't expecting this film to be as powerful as it was. I was expecting it to be more of a comedy than a drama, but honestly, this might be one of the most powerful dramas of the year to me. Colin Farrell was in a league of his own with his performance here, and the screenplay was marvelous. I loved it a lot. Before Banshees, I wasn't the biggest McDonough fan. I've only seen a couple of his other films, but I thought they were kind of overrated, not particularly great. But The Banshees of Inisherin was amazing.
Thank you.
And number 6, this is probably where it gets controversial, I will get a lot of disagreements, is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you couldn't tell, I'm a massive MCU fan, with the Avengers, the first Avengers, creating my love for cinema. But this film was something else. It was just a non-stop action adventure throughout the multiverse, with Benedict Cumberbatch as the lead, and Sam Raimi in the director's chair. Like, what's not to love here? It's just great. But I do understand people's criticisms with the film, especially the script. I understand that. But while it's not a technical marvel, it's fun enough for me to sit back and enjoy and watch this on repeat all the time. It's probably my most watched film of the year. At number 5, we have All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't really have much to say about this. It's just a really dark, bleak, depressing, heartbreaking look at a World War One. The technical aspects of this film are incredible. The sound design is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The makeup and costume design are amazing. I can't speak highly enough about this film, and I would highly recommend that anyone watch it if you haven't already.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
Number 4 is Top Gun Maverick. It's one of, if not the best action movie in years. It's very well made, and Tom Cruise is a legend at making movies. He understands the magic of making movies. I'm also glad to see Jon Hamm getting more work in this after Mad Men. We haven't seen too much of him, so it was a big factor in me going out to watch this at the cinema, was seeing Jon Hamm. And when the credits began to play for this movie, my whole theatre got up and cheered, which is something I haven't seen since Avengers Endgame. It's not really something common in New Zealand to stand up and cheer, but it was such a great time.
I love to dance.
Number 3 is Aftersun. For a while I was considering putting this at number 1, and honestly as time goes on I'll probably age into it more, but this film was amazing. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not someone who particularly cries in films, but this was the first film when that under pressure sequence started playing. I don't want to spoil it, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. It's the first film that like actually broke me down. It was really good. I don't know if I'll ever be able to listen to that song the same way again. But yeah, Charlotte Wells for her directorial debut. This is an incredible film that she should be very proud of. It's probably going to end up as one of the best of the decade, and I seriously enjoyed it.
Now, behold.
At number 2, we have The Northman. It was my number 1 until about 2 weeks ago. It's an incredibly well-acted film. It's disturbing, yet it's very fun as well. Robert Eggers is amazing. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. My biggest regret about this film, though, was that I didn't see it in cinemas because I had low expectations for it. But Skarsgård gave a beautiful performance, and I would highly recommend anyone check this out who missed it like I did at the start of the year.
I want you to make a camping trip movie. You can learn how the editing machine works while you do this. It'll make your mom feel better.
And for my number 1, if you've seen anything I've talked about in my past videos, I have said that The Fabelmans is my favorite film of the year, easily. Honestly, this film had everything that makes me love a film. Hell, I even enjoyed Seth Rogen's performance in it, which is quite surprising because I'm not a very big Seth Rogen fan. And this film probably won't hit everyone in the same way it hit me, but Sammy's story I found somewhat relatable with his relationships to his family and of course his passion for film. Spielberg's love for film shines so well throughout this film, and it makes you feel like a kid again. I also want to send some praise over to Paul Dano, who I think's getting overlooked a lot this award season. I'll be honest, that's probably my favourite performance out of any film this year, is Paul Dano in The Fabelmans. It was just fantastic. And I also want to recognise David Lynch in this film, not to spoil his role, but his part in the last few minutes of the movie is very funny. So that's my top 10 of the year. I don't think it's anything too out of the ordinary, but yeah, no, it's a very good year. I'm very excited for next year. I've got a lot of films that I'm excited for that are going to be opening. You got Oppenheimer, Barbie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Rebel Moon, and so many more to name. But yeah, it's going to be a very good year for film next year, and I can't wait to keep updated. Peace.